We've all heard the classic tale of the disappointing Kickstarter game. The mighty number 9s, the ukuleles, all of these share a common story. Thousands of people fundraise for what is seemingly a masterpiece and are inevitably let down by the final product. Unless that product happens to be Dark Skies.
Hey guys, I'm a pony named Lucky that isn't actually so lucky. You see, I have lots of money and friends. We can't seem to get a date.
Hey man, name's Bryce. I'm the captain of the swim team. If you want to hang out sometime after practice, we can hang out. Just not at my house though, because my parents are really lame.
You know, when God released Jesus, he wasn't that popular either. But I think I've found a rare breed of Kickstarter, one that I really haven't seen replicated. Most Kickstarters wait until the final release to underdeliver, but this Kickstarter didn't really deliver at all. In fact, this Kickstarter vanished without a trace, without even getting to the funding. This is the story of Umineko Gold, the Kickstarter that never was. Umineko Gold Edition was announced in October 2018 by the newly minted company Catbox Creative, headed by voice actress Emily Fajardo. The project was billed as an updated re-release of Umineko When They Cry, one of my favorite visual novels. There's no good way to summarize Umineko without sounding like an utter lunatic, but I'm gonna try. Okay, so imagine Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, but there's anime battles in the interludes, and the whole story is a time loop chess game played between two witches, and the whole game is framed by two characters watching the events play out while arguing the logic of magic, but they're actually... This wasn't going to be a simple update, however. This was going to include the remastered visuals from the Japan-exclusive PS3 release, new content, and a complete English dub. Every single word from the dialogue to the narration would be fully voice acted in English. Oh god. And the voice actors weren't no-names, these were real talents in the industry. Some of these actors were Josh Grell, Cynthia Kranz, and Linda Young, who have all voiced some pretty prominent characters before and have been in the business for quite a while. On top of all this, there were stretch goals for cinematic cameras for key scenes and a release of the entire dub as a podcast. All of this would be made available as a free update for those who already own the game. Everything about this project was presented very professionally. There was a scene showing off the new voice actors and even an English cover of the anime's opening, which honestly slaps way more than the original. I remember seeing these clips and getting really hype. This seemed like a perfectly polished love letter to the original game, and the Kickstarter was just a few days away. Ahead of the campaign's November 14th start, I was fully prepared to spend a small fortune on Umineko playing cards and any other useless trinkets that came with backing a campaign like this. And then, November 14th, the Kickstarter's original release date, came. On November 14th, there was no Kickstarter to speak of. Later on, Catbox Creative made a statement on their silence. Due to a health emergency affecting an essential member of our launch team, we are deeply sorry to say that the start time for the Umineko Gold Kickstarter must be slightly delayed. We will launch as soon as we receive word from our colleague that we're out of the woods. So it seems like someone fell ill and they decided to delay the Kickstarter until they felt better. They even revealed some more info about voice actors and merchandise to compensate for the delay. Makes sense. But as time went on, Catbox Creative became more and more quiet about the state of Umineko Gold. A month later, Emily Fajardo went on the Catbox Creative account to clear the air. She announced that she was the subject of the health emergency the month prior and delayed the Kickstarter to revise it in case of another crisis. Catbox Creative have been working 7 days a week on the project, and they are so close to announcing a new date. Later on, in January, they announced that it was almost Kickstarter time. After this, the team would go silent for another couple months. In late May, the account responded to a worried fan reassuring them that news of a Kickstarter would be announced as soon as they possibly could. And this is where the train of information stops. At least, it seemed that way initially. During my research for this video, I actually found that Catbox Creative did make one more pair of tweets in April of this year, nearly 2 years after its last update. This was following the sudden removal of the initial promotional video from a YouTube channel belonging to Sound Cadence Studios, where the dub was recorded. For many, this removal killed the hope of Gold's return, but Catbox Creative made it clear that the video status did not reflect the status of the project. However, they refused to comment on the state of Umineko Gold itself. So, what happened? Many have their own theories. It was a scam, it was cancelled, etc, etc. I actually have a theory of my own, and considering what we know, I think it's pretty plausible. While doing research on the topic, I started noticing some connections and clues to the behind the scenes of the project. A lot of it ties back to the head of Umineko Gold, Emily Fajardo. Fajardo is a Funimation voice actor and an Umineko superfan. However, I don't see any previous experience in heading a project of this size. Dubbing over a 100-hour visual novel is one thing, but there's also the fundraising, merch production, shipping, along with the visual enhancements and extra scenes that were originally promised. Combined with the fact that all of the voice actors were from Funimation and likely knew Fajardo personally, it's obvious to me that this was a passion project that was a little too ambitious for its own good. Now, this is more speculation on my part, but I think Gold's status as a free update was also a red flag. It seems like a lot of content to add for a free update, and although it's a nice gesture to those who already own the game, there's more than enough enhancements to justify selling it at full price. I think most of the people interested in this are Umineko fans who have already bought the original game, so chances for profit were limited. The Kickstarter would have funded it, but for the more business-minded higher-ups at Manga Gamer, it may not have made sense to spend this much effort on something that's free. Now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. Is Umineko Gold dead? Almost, but not yet. If I were doing this video without any research, I would say yes, absolutely. Umineko Gold is dead, the Higurashi anime was bad, Zirconia Phase 2 is never coming out, When They Cry is over. Now I can just say Umineko Gold is clinging on to life, but it's definitely on life support. The key to this all lies in the latest response on Twitter. What used to be a series of tweets assuring the readers that Umineko Gold is still in production became a quiet statement of uncertainty. We can't discuss the status of the project at this time. With this being the only proof of life after 2 years, it's a little concerning. What's more concerning is that Emily Fajardo's Twitter bio once read founder of Catbox Creative, but as of today, that statement has disappeared. However, the fact that Catbox Creative responded to the tweet at all is interesting. If the project was truly dead, there would be no reason to respond to any questions about its state. Someone still logs into the Catbox Creative account and possibly plans to use it again someday. An earlier tweet references that Umineko Gold was in the works for 2 years before it was officially unveiled, which tells me that this is a project that takes a lot of time to produce. It's likely that whoever works on Umineko Gold does it as a side project, and thus any progress can take much longer to make. In addition, any and all changes would have certainly needed to be run by Ryukishi07, the creator of the original game. Since he probably doesn't speak English and also lives overseas, any communication with him would be difficult, slowing the process significantly. All of these issues compounded to make Umineko Gold this massive time sink for all involved without showing any real benefit for those that weren't already fans of the series. Ultimately, I think Umineko Gold was a project started by someone with a lot of passion but not a lot of experience, and thus a lot of the behind the scenes chaos ensued. As the project grew more complex, with its heads adding more and more planned features, it became more and more difficult to coordinate with the partners domestically and overseas. Eventually, most of the people working on the project lost interest or got preoccupied with other responsibilities, and the project now lies in a dormant state. It's not officially cancelled, but whatever momentum it had is slowed to a halt. It may come back to us in 6 years riding a white horse, but for now, all we have to do is wait and see. If you've watched this far, thanks a lot. I thought that this would be a pretty niche video, and my last video was pretty obscure too, but I hope this was interesting enough to non-Umineko fans. And to those that are Umineko fans, I wanted to compile and immortalize this weird part of When They Cry history. It also works as a decent Halloween video. Umineko's Halloweeny, right? Anyway, that's all for now. I'm off to make a stop at the Umineko drive-thru.